Hello, everybody. Eric here from 5minuteinvesting.com. So today, our member Seher picked a stock for us, and that is Alibaba.com. So this week, we're going to do a case study on Alibaba. So on my screen right now, you will see the disclaimer. Obviously, this is general advice, and it's not specific advice, and it does not guarantee whether you make money or not in the market. So with that being said, Alibaba, isn't that exciting? I'm from China, so it's actually very exciting to see a Chinese stock being listed on an American stock exchange. So before we start, let me hide all the indicators except the EMA. So we always start with the chart, and I just want you to know that Alibaba went IPO in 2015, so it's around a year and a half ago. And you can see that there's no data before this point, which is approximately September 15th, 2015. And what they mainly do, it's like Amazon, except business to business. So if you're not familiar with Alibaba, Alibaba.com allows you to buy really cheap manufacturing products. You can talk to suppliers, and you can get them to ship it to anywhere in the world, and then for a very cheap price. Obviously, it's taking a minute to load here. So, for example, a smartwatch, $4.5, ridiculously low. And the reason for that is because you need to buy at least like 1,000 or 2,000 units in order for them to manufacture it for you. And there's also another company that's under Alibaba. It's called AliExpress. Now, this company is more like Amazon, but then the shipping time is usually 30 to 60 days, and these are more, I would say, lower price products, but they're still valuable. So for example, you can buy a wireless charger for $17 right here. So it's not that much cheaper than Amazon.com. So they also have a lot of other services, such as Alipay, which is like PayPal, and they're doing a lot of partnerships as well. Like there's Ali Movie, which is a separate stock. So before we start, I just want to let you know that the reason why Seher thinks Alibaba will be a good buy is because of the upcoming Thanksgiving. Now, before we jump into that, let's take a look at the chart. So notice that we don't have both EMA lines. So we have the 100 EMA line here, but then we don't see the blue EMA line. And that's because there isn't enough data to even calculate it yet. But given the price is up here, we should be pretty confident that the 200 EMA is somewhere down here or somewhere in the middle of here. Okay, so from the EMA standpoint, it's a clear uptrend. In fact, I was actually tracking this stock, and you'll see that it's actually on my list this year, January, and I thought, oh, it's bouncing on 100 EMA, so it's a good buy opportunity. But of course I didn't because of other reasons. So if we bring in the Bollinger Band, you'll see that Alibaba has been in a strong uptrend, and right now it's near the top of the Bollinger Band again. Now, Bollinger Band shows you the relative high and low, given that there isn't a significant change in the market. And obviously, there is a significant change. And when you're looking at the candlestick, you'll notice that there are wicks here, which is a sign of weakness. But of course, in the uptrend, you can only rely on wick like 50% of the time or less. So just from a pure chart standpoint, if I want to invest in Alibaba today, the price I want to get in, it's approximately somewhere near the lower parts of the Bollinger Band. So you'll see that historically, good entry points are always near the low of the Bollinger Band, but these are rare. So you might want to ask, okay, are you willing to wait? And when you're looking at support and resistance, you'll notice that the most recent support would be around here. Around here. So it's either between $100 to $117. And even if you look at the the red EMA, and as the price retraces, so we're assuming the price will retrace, it'll hit between 120 to 140. So this will be my most ideal entry point. All right, so let's look at news to see if there's anything weird. So I'm just scanning here. So nothing but good news. Like they're making a lot of sales because of the most recent 1111 holiday that is like a singles holiday in China. So single days, they're making a lot of money. So then you can expect the upcoming financial performance to be good, which is expected. We're close to Christmas, and if you take down the account as well, it all kind of makes sense. So notice, if you want to buy the stock today, you're buying the stock at a very strong point. Like you can see that it's an all-time high. There's nothing but good news in the market. And you're nowhere close to the Bollinger Band or the EMA, which shows support. So if I am a mutual fund manager and I bought the stock like here, guess what I'll be doing? I'll be selling right now. But let's go through the analysis because I think it's really valuable for all of us to understand how it is done or what you should look out for. So before we dive really deep into the financials here, right now we're at the balance sheet annual, so for the last 5 years of the balance sheet. Alibaba is a growing company. So right now, before I even look at the financials, I'm not concerned whether Alibaba is going bankrupt or not. So the balance sheet is less important than the income statements. When a company is in distress, the balance sheet becomes more important than the income statement. I think I said it right. Okay. So right now, good, healthy amount of cash, right? Let's see if there's anything weird. So I have goodwill. Seems like they did some acquisition earlier, but then in order to figure out what exactly are these acquisitions, you need to do more research. Maybe you have been tracking Alibaba for a while. So you would know this answer as here. So when you're looking at debt, obviously they have debt, but then when you're compared against equity, you notice that equity is a lot higher than debt, or at least it's more than 1-to-1. So that is maybe like 95, 80% of it. So then this is healthy. I'm not concerned. The only part I would try to figure out is whether Alibaba is making a lot of acquisitions, which is driving up their goodwill and other intangibles. And this gets amortized or hits the income statement sometime down the line. So if I look at quarterly balance sheets, again, I shouldn't see any problems. Okay, some short-term investment here, but no big deal. Everything seems pretty stable from the balance sheet standpoint. So let's look at income statement where most of the action is. So revenue, you can see that revenue is rapidly growing, and this is annual revenue. So then right now we're hitting around 200 billion renminbi. So notice in Morningstar, the currency is very important because it is actually in its domestic currency. So you got to do the translation. For example, if I go to earnings per share, this is $24 per share. Okay, you can see that earning is growing rapidly. It's not slowing down. Actually, it peaked in 2016, and it dropped here. But then it seems like it's going to be higher this year. So before I go further, let me translate 24 renminbi into US dollars. Because the price we have here, it's actually in US dollars. So it's actually around $3 to $4. Let's be optimistic and make it $4. So that means if Alibaba continues for the next 10 years, it's going to make $40. And if it continues for the next 20 years, it's going to make $80. So this gives you a good benchmark of where Alibaba is based on just pure earnings, assuming there's no growth and so on. So of course, because Alibaba is a growing company, has a strong brand, and there's a large customer base, the price is going to be higher than what we just calculated, which is fine. So again, positive net income, that is great. And revenue growing. Let's see if there's anything weird. Nope, everything looks pretty normal. So let's go to quarterly. Again, quarterly, positive net income. So because you're trying to trade Thanksgiving, you would want to know if last year Thanksgiving and what people expected. So last year was 17 billion. So when you're looking at this year, right now we only have September data, it's already at 17 billion. That means when it hits the December timeframe, November, December, Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas or whatnot, I would expect this to be even higher. So then right now, if you are going to buy Alibaba, you would be thinking, okay, is there going to be even more good news that will surprise investor? Or has this already been built into the price already? Because if you look at it, the amounts of news that are released on saying how awesome, how fantastic the sale is, it will be reflected in the market in the next 2 weeks. I'm quite sure unless somehow Alibaba surprises everyone, which will then drive the stock price even higher. So then, this might be from your own research or your understanding of Alibaba that there's something that is upcoming in the next 2 years that will significantly drive up the price even from $186, and that is crucial. Okay, so on the income statement side, there isn't a short-term problem, which is usually what I look for, because instead of trying to enter at a high, I always try to enter at a low. And in order for a low to happen, you need some sort of short-term problem. And right now, there isn't any for Alibaba. So let's take a look at valuations. For Alibaba, you'll see that the price to earnings ratio is quite high, significantly higher than a general company, and that's because it is a software company, and software companies generally don't make a lot of money at first unless it stops investing. So you'll see that Alibaba is slightly overvalued compared with industry average. And the second part, price to book, this is on par with industry. Price to sales, this is significantly higher. In fact, if we go search up Amazon right now, which is one of Alibaba's main competitor, you'll notice that the price to sales for Amazon, it's only 3.4, but Alibaba is 16. So from a price to sales standpoint, it is considered to be quite overvalued. And finally, price to cash flow as well. That means Alibaba is not generating enough sales and cash flow to be worth its price from this standpoint. So finally, let's look at insiders. Insider activity here. And then Alibaba actually doesn't post any insider activity, so which is one of our main indicators whether to buy the company or not. So when so here you're analyzing this company, you got to think about, okay, what is management doing? We actually don't know. Is it overvalued or undervalued? Most of the ratios would be overvalued, and those are hard to manipulate, which is price to sales, price to cash flow. And when you're looking at the financials, they are making money, and you know that it's $40 to $80 around here. And right now it's at $186. You know that they have a good year for December, like the November sales is great. Chances are December sales is going to be great. But when you think about it, this is probably built into the expectation already. So that means unless you know something that is going to drive up sales in the next year or two, chances are you wouldn't want to buy Alibaba and you want to wait for a correction. So in terms of my confidence score, I would only give 30 to 40% to Alibaba unless you know something and have a very good reason on why it is going to go up. But if your only reason is that Thanksgiving sale would drive Alibaba sales up, then chances are it's already reflected in the price. Because in China, it is the November 11th sale that really drive sales up, and the Golden Week as well. And as you know, sales is at an all-time high. It's doing half a pin bar here, and it's really far away from the 100 EMA. So the more ideal location to enter would be to wait until Alibaba retraces to around maybe 150, at the maximum, or 130, which is the more ideal. But this means Alibaba has to make some sort of mistake or have some sort of bad news in order for this to happen. So hope this helps. I'm not going to go through stock option this time because obviously it's a high and I don't recommend buying it. But in the end, this is your decision and you need to understand Alibaba from a big picture point of view. And that's it. Good luck.